Hi, this is Stephanie Hansen, and you're listening to The Makers of Minnesota, and we're doing something new today. We are recapping businesses that we've had a chance to talk with before. We are just past our 100th episode, and we want to circle back on some of the folks that we talked to very early on. One of those people is Ryan Furness. Hi, Ryan. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Ryan is with nearestyou.com. And Ryan, you were like one of my first, in the first 10 podcasts that I did. So it's been almost a year and a half since I talked with you. You are a brand locator. So you help people find unique brands that might be in a local marketplace and create directional activity for them. And I know that your business has changed so much. So get us caught up.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me back. It has been a whirlwind of time, both for you guys, as I can see, as I listen to all the great podcasts that come out. And
thank you.
And it was a great. We actually had some business development from that. It was wonderful.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Some of the local makers and add them to our service. And so, yeah, we haven't pivoted as much as we've just grown and understood what we're trying to do and how we're trying to help both local and regional and other brands in the food and beverage space. And that's really been now our core focus for the last about a year, where we decided, this is where it's at, especially beverages, but also food. But I would say beverages has really become a main focus for our small team of 4 people. And so we've really started to hone in on cideries.
Yeah, you've grown. You've got 4 employees?
We do part-time.
Excellent.
Contract, and then also a partner, so.
All right. So what was it about the beverage category that seemed like a better fit for you than so much of the makers?
I think a lot of times it's about where we felt the consumers were at, as far as we knew that they loved craft spirits, right? That's a real big trend, as you know quite well, where people are. The craft beer was certainly first in this space, but craft distilleries and the cocktail movement, from the mixologists and what they're doing with all kinds of other makers in the bitters, syrups, drinking vinegars, all that, shrubs, that kind of thing. And so we felt like that really aligned well with what we were putting together as far as helping those businesses who make craft spirits, and then those who make things for craft spirits and others, really help them reach their customers, right, in a meaningful way. So that's what we do. Is we build. Primarily, we're really focused on that store locator and map embed technology.
Yep.
So, for all of those distilleries, we're the ones to start making those map embeds for them. So you as a consumer can go to their site and go, all right, I love this spirits brand. I want to find where it is near me. I just tried it. I was at a Taste of Minnesota event. I love their cocktail. I love their gin. It was really, lavender forward or whatever.
Yep.
And where can I get their stuff? And so that's where we felt we needed to put our energies. And so now we're reaching out again to a lot of these, not just local anymore. We're actually working with craft brands of all sorts in about, we just added 3 states. So I think we're up to about 15 states now.
That is so cool. So let's say I make a shrub, and how much does something like this cost for one of these local makers?
Really, for us right now, nearestyou.com is an aggregated website where we also list all the store locators of the companies that we work with. So in addition to doing their mapping technology on their website, we use that same information and put it on our site so that consumers can find and discover, like you said, that new brands and new companies near wherever they might be. So that's really, there's no charge for nearestyou.com. We don't charge for having a listing on there. What we do charge for is managing and creating that web map experience on their websites. And it starts at just $10.
So $10 a month, and it's like a plug-in, it sounds like, that you can...
That's exactly it.
Oh, that's awesome, because you're going to be much more on top of being able to update where all these locations are by reminding these vendors, like, hey, do you have any new locations? Because they get so busy making their products.
That's just it, Stephanie. I mean, that was a big piece we were in. Part of our learning process was we didn't want to just give them something off the shelf and say, okay, here's another map thing you can throw up on your website, and you have to manage it. And you know, as a consumer, it's frustrating sometimes when you go to their sites and it's not up to date, and you visit a shop that was supposed to carry their product, and they just didn't have time to update that map. And so you get frustrated, and you're like, well, I want to support them, but I'm going to just pick whatever's here at this shelf today and not their product that you went there for. So you're right. I mean, that's really one of the key things that we started doing, which no other that we know of, no other store locator service or platform does, is we do all the updating and management for
and
them.
you stay on top of it for them. We're talking with Ryan
Exactly.
Furness from nearestyou.com, and we're getting an update from his You Were podcast number. Oh, I should look here.
I should know this too.
I had it pulled up. You Were podcast number 8.
8. Wow.
8 out of 100. And
that's awesome.
When you look on iTunes, it alphabetizes, or it goes backwards. So I had to do quick math there for you.
Nice.
Can I just ask about, so when we talked, you were just a lone soldier, and now you've got 4 employees,
right.
Part-time, but still employees. At what point did you decide, like, wow, I just can't keep bootstrapping this? And what did that decision look like for you?
That's a good question. It took a lot of soul searching, and it still is in the process of evolving. But I think at some point you realize you can't do everything, first of all, and you can't be an expert in everything. And so that's why we have a nice little core team. One of them, she's a front-end designer, and she's helping on wireframing for our next version that's coming out, hopefully early part of 2019. We've got our, CTO level developer, Peter, and so he's really moving the ball forward as far as our features and functionalities and making sure the site stays up running all the time and our embeds work. And then we've got analytics, which is a new thing, Stephanie. We really have realized also the value of data, something that's, of course, being talked about in big business and has been for a couple of years now, but data analytics and consumer insights, right? So this idea that we can tell from the locator where their products are popular, what stores are really getting a lot of digital traffic, and hopefully that can convert into store traffic, right? But it's valuable to the brands because I'll give you a quick example of, if we can say to a brewery that works with us, hey, you had 50 people click on the map view of this particular liquor store in South Minneapolis.
Yep.
It's very likely that you've got a lot of fans in that area, and you might be sold out. Your shelf might be empty. That's huge, because if they didn't know that in their distribution rep or they're self-distributed and they didn't know that it was empty because the retailer didn't call them and say, hey, we need more product, it's sat empty for a week. Or worse, they went and sold the neighbor's products, right?
Right.
And they just said, well, here's another product you could try instead because this one seems to be out. Well, we just, we're able to tell brands that and say, wow, now you know this information. You should go put product back on the shelf and make more sales. So we actually keep them from losing money, which is really fun for us now. Now we're getting into the thick of it, right?
Yeah, really helping someone develop their business. They may be able to schedule sampling events at that store or get more involved with them.
That's exactly it.
I love it.
Totally.
As we get a quick wrap up here, are there things that you learned from being on Makers of Minnesota, or are there things that people have said to you about listening to the episode?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we get feedback, a fair amount of feedback, but I'm always looking for more, and I'm totally open to the constructive criticism model. I don't, we're Minnesota nice, that. Like we don't like to call people out and say something is bad, but you know what? We can't improve unless people tell us, hey, I don't like this thing you got going here. This button isn't working the way it should on my device, and so I think we heard some of that from when we were on. We actually got a few emails right after that to tell us, hey, this thing isn't working on the site, or hey, have you considered this brand even? Reaching out to us and saying, I love this brand. They should really use your service because I love them and I want to support them and I want them to be supported by, other people in Minnesota, and you should add them. And so we're, we're doing that as fast as we can. But that's the power of connection, right?
Yes. It is, and I'm so excited that you guys are doing well. Feel free to share updates with us on our Facebook page at Makers of Minnesota. Whenever you guys have news, I try to post things. Also, our Twitter account, if you at us, that will help listeners get familiar with what's happening. And I'm just really excited to check back in with you. You're doing great, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
It's been a fun ride. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.